Hello everyone, welcome to this C++ tutorial. Today I'll be talking about loops. Going into this tutorial, I will expect everyone here to know to be comfortable with variables, printing out to the console, and if statements. So if you're not comfortable with any of those topics, please visit my older videos. I have them up on YouTube right now, and I'll be transferring them to library.tv shortly. I'm posting this video on YouTube up on YouTube as well, but eventually I want to phase out YouTube completely and switch over to library.tv. So please head on to library.tv using the links in the descriptions below. The description, one description, not two. Anyway, let's get right into it. So open up your favorite C++ editor. In this tutorial, I'll be using dev C++, but feel free to use whichever one you're most comfortable with. I'm using light theme because that's the default that comes with the editor. Let me know if you'd prefer dark theme. Maybe I'll make a poll one day and then we can decide light theme or dark theme. So anyway, into loops. So there are two main types of loops which you'll be working with in C++. One is called the for loop, and then the other type of loop is a while loop. Now there's a third one called a do while loop, which I might talk a little bit about if I have enough time near the end of the video. But basically, if you know these two, that's all you really need. You never really need to use a do while loop. So yeah, let's get right into it. So let's first talk about the for loop. So what a loop really is. Let's say that I have a program and I wrote some lines of code for it, and I want to keep on executing that code over and over and over again, or like a few times. Or basically, I want to keep on executing that code until some condition is, is false. So you know how in an if statement you have if, and then in the brackets you have a condition. So if maybe we can say like 2 is less than a or whatever, a variable a. If some condition is true, the condition that we wrote in here, if that condition is true, then we execute whatever we wrote inside of the loop. Execute this. That's just a quick recap of the if statement. So now what a for loop would do, or any sort of loop, a for or while loop do, it would be while this condition is true, execute this. So now the difference is that an if statement only runs once. So it'll just go, check the condition. If it's true, it executes it, and then it keeps on going, doing the rest of the program. What a loop will do, for example, a while loop, what a loop will do is it'll keep on executing whatever is inside of here. It'll keep on executing this code until this condition no longer is true. So let me just show you a quick example of that. Let's say that I want to have a counter that'll just print to the console. It'll just keep on printing to the consoles the numbers from 1 to 10. So if I want to do that, let's just set up our namespace using namespace std. And now if I wanted to print out the numbers, let's say numbers from 1 to 5 first. So I can do cout 1 and then cout 2. Or if I want to have it in one line, I could do it like this with the end line and then 3 ... Let's just say 3 for now because I don't want to waste your guys' time. So now if we compile this and we actually see what's going to be shown displayed in the console, it'll be... One sec. Sorry about that. I just had to restart OBS for a second because it wasn't capturing the console log. So anyway, here's the console window that pops up. You'll have a window similar to this, and then see it says 1, 2, 3. So we can continue this 1, 2, 3 all the way to 10, but that's really dumb. Why not just use a variable and then have a loop that does that for us? So I'll just show you how to do that really quickly right now. So instead of having a bunch of print statements like this, we could also have something like int x, for example, just any number into variable, an int variable, and then have it equal to 1. Now we can print that out, and then an end line at the end, and then we can increment that. increment the x. So this x plus plus is the same thing as equals x plus 1. It'll just add 1 onto whatever the value of x was. So we can increment it, and then print the value again, and let's see what this gives us. So wow, we have the same thing, 1, 2. But this is still pretty slow, and it's the same thing as if we just typed it here. But now, if you notice, what we'll be doing is we will just be adding these two lines, and then keep on, and we'll just keep on we'll just be repeating these lines over and over and over again. So we can copy paste this 10 times, or we can be smart about it and do a loop. So we can have a loop here. So let's just get rid of this. We can still keep our variable x equals 1 here, x equal to 1 over here, and then we'll just have a loop underneath. That's while. And what condition do we want? We want to print until it's 10, right? So while x is less than or equal to 10, and then we put our code in here just like in an if statement. So while x is less than or equal to 10, we want to print out the value of x, right? So I'll let you guys think about it, read over the code, and try to figure out what this will do. Pause the video. So if, for those of you who have figured it out, good job, there is a bug in here. And the bug is that x will never equal 10, it'll never increment. We're not incrementing x anywhere. So if we run this, it'll just keep on printing 1. And there you go. It's just printing 1 and going crazy, so let's just close that. So anyway, we want to increment x. So after we print out the value of x, we want to increment it, right? So let's just increment the x over here, and now run it. Wow, look at that. We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Perfect. We did exactly what we wanted to. So this is a while loop. Now the question is, isn't there another thing called a for loop? I actually should have done it the other way around, but you know, you get the idea. There are two different types of loops. So I showed you a while loop here. So a while loop just has the condition and that's it. So while this condition is true, it'll keep on executing, and then once this condition is no longer true, it'll leave the loop. So keep in mind the condition is always checked at the end of the loop. So it's checked right after it increments here. Right around here is when the condition is checked again. So now there's also another thing called a for loop, and a for loop has actually three different parameters, you could say, that goes into the brackets. So the while loop is more similar to an if statement because it just has a condition. A for loop has a declaration. So declaration followed by a semicolon, and then a condition, and then what to do that will affect this condition. So we'll have the increment over here. So let's say that we wanted to, instead of using a while loop here, let's say that we wanted to use a for loop. So I'll just comment this out. We don't even need the declaration. Do you see how we had to declare the variable outside of the loop? In a for loop, we don't even have to do that. We can just do that right here. So you can actually declare the variable int x equals 1, and then we can have the condition here. So the condition will be while x is less than or equal to 10. And then over here, the final thing in the loop will just increment it. And then the actual body of our for loop will just be printing out x. So as you can see, this will accomplish the exact same thing as this. And I'll just show you that right now. So it accomplished the exact same thing in a much neater way, because instead of having the actual conditional effects outside and inside of the loop, like so, you can actually have them all listed at the top over here. So that makes the for loop a cleaner way of doing this sort of thing. So that's the benefit of a for loop. But keep in mind, for anything you can always just use a while loop, but you cannot always use a for loop. So just bear that in mind. This is a for loop, this is a while loop. They do the exact same thing. For loops are a little bit cleaner, but a while loop can still get the job done. You just have to bear in mind that you'll have to have something that affects the condition at the end of the while loop, unless you want it to be an infinite loop. So I think I still have a little bit of time. I'll actually talk a little bit about do while loops now. So what a do while loop is it's a while loop with it's a while loop, literally just a while loop, but something executes first. So that's a really bad explanation, but I'll just show you guys very quickly. In a while loop, the way the computer reads the code is it reads it line by line, and then first checks this condition, and if this condition isn't true, it'll get out of here right away. But now let's say that we want it to run through the loop just once. So we want it to go and run through the code in the middle of the while loop, or the body of the while loop. We want it to run that code once, and then check the condition. So basically we're trying to check the condition at the end of the loop, at the end, not on the first time around, just to get into the loop. So let me show you what I mean. If I have while x is less than 1, what will this program print? Well, it shouldn't print anything, right? Because x is already 1, so x is not less than 1, so it'll just go here and then it'll just return 0. Our program will just return 0. It won't actually print anything. There we go. So now let's say that I actually wanted to print the value of x. So how can I do that? Well, I can either just copy the body of the while loop, and put it up here, and that accomplishes what we wanted, what we set out to do, where we print it at least once. Or I can use a do while loop. So what a do while loop is it's the exact it accomplishes the exact same thing, just the syntax for it, instead of having the while with the condition here, you'd have a do, and then you put the while with the condition at the end of the loop here with a semicolon. Bam. So as you can see, what this do while loop has done is it goes, reads this code once, and then checks the while loop condition. So it'll read it at least once. So keep in mind there are multiple ways to accomplish the same thing in coding, and that's really a fundamental principle that will take you a long way. I hope this video on loops has helped you. If you have any questions, please leave them in the comments below. And once again, head on over to library using the links in the descriptions below to see more of these tutorials. I will eventually be phasing out YouTube, so just keep that in mind. Anyway, thanks for watching, everyone. See ya.